I'ma go buy me a gun. What's the love, y'all? People killing, people dying.
Black people that drink Sprite should be treated unfairly and unjust.
Half of y'all that claim that you hate Charlie Kirk so much didn't even know who he was until today.
Anyways, we're going to actually look at the Black community and what everyone is saying in America in regards to the passing of Charlie Kirk. And of course, guys, always leave your opinions down below. So Charlie Kirk is an American conservative. They say he's an activist, and they also say that he's a radio host. And when I say they, it's cool. He passed away during his first stop on his fall tour. So the tour that he was doing for the fall for 2025 was the American Comeback, and the first stop on his tour was actually Utah. So he actually is the owner of Turning Point USA. I only know about Turning Point USA, or I'm familiar with Turning Point USA, is because of Candace Owens. Whenever Candace Owens was on those events or a part of those rallies, those tours. So Turning Point USA, basically, they do a lot of events around America. They go to almost every single state, and they will do events at universities or just conference areas. They'll just talk about topics, and then sometimes they will also allow the guests to stand up and then give opinions. They'll do question and answer. They'll have a session. So this rally was the Prove Me Wrong table. So basically here they were talking, and then again, the crowd could ask questions. And I think that is the fun part out of it, because we want to hear the opinions of the everyday people, and it's always just like cutthroat. So there has been a lot of controversy around his name, because it has to do with him being anti-Black, saying things that are just untrue and out of pocket. And we're going to dive into it. Like, watching someone being a victim of gun violence really opened up my eyes to see how strong a bullet is. Like, what a bullet can do to you. I was like, no, unfortunately he passed. Like, once you see you're like, I just don't feel like people should be circulating the video, because that's someone's family. I would not want any of my family members on social media based on how they pass. Like, that's the thing about social media. Like, 20 years from now, people still can access that video, and it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, it's explicit, it's raw, it's uncensored. So anyways, we're going to see what everyone else is saying. I have my iPad, of course, you guys already know that. We're gonna look on here, and we're also going to go on the shade room and see what people are saying as well. So let's get an introduction to him.
Who is Charlie Kirk, and why was he in Utah? If that is a question that you had, then stick around, I'm going to tell you about it. The journalist in me just can't stand for people to hop on here and be so loud and so wrong. So Charlie Kirk was a known conservative. He founded Turning Point USA. From the website, it looks to be a group of conservative influencers that will report on different things that's happening. A lot of it in the government, which of course tends to favor conservatives more than anything else. His face seems familiar to you. It's likely because he worked very closely with the acting president. He actually was helping to pick some of the cabinet members. So yeah, he's known for doing these come debate me type tables, which is
honestly, I thought he was just a creator. And also he has a lot of capital for him to be able to have a whole company and be able to travel to many different states and put on these huge events. But to pick out the cabinet members for the America,
which is what happened when he got hit at Utah. Now, initially when it hit my feed, I was seeing the video of the impact. Don't worry, I'm not going to post that video on this one. And I also wish that people would have more of like a trigger warning.
Girl, what do you mean not this one? Are you going to post it on another page?
The footage was just awful to see, because you can see him get hit in the neck, and then all of a sudden it's just all of it everywhere. Nobody just wants to log in and just see that first thing. Crazy. But another thing that is surfacing right now is his former words about control of such items, if you will. Oh, initially when I saw it, they were like...
Okay, so the big topic that a lot of people attack Charlie Kirk was because of his views on gun violence.
His state was undetermined and they had somebody in custody. Let's clear up some things. First and foremost, he is no longer with us. That's why I said was. Secondly, there is nobody in custody. So there was this image of, I want to say, like an older individual that they had down, but that person wasn't the actual person. So right now it's said to be a man.
The way they pinned down that man. The old man.
Manhood going to try and find the individual that actually did it. But the thing that is very peculiar to me is the fact that it happened in Utah. Now, I'm not shocked that it actually happened. As polarized.
We'll talk about it later on in this video, but he spoke a lot about Black people being the most violent and were criminals. The irony that she's saying it wasn't a Black person that shot him. It was in Utah and it was a non-Black person. So this is where a lot of this controversy is. And also, I was going to say something, I forgot. Anyway.
As things have been in America so far, it makes sense for something like this to happen. Not that it should happen. It's just that it makes sense for something like this to have happened at this point. Do I think that it's right? No. Am I happy about it? No. It's just that it's Utah for me. Now, if you don't know, one of the things that I talk about over here is like history and things that happen with the government. And so it just being Utah is very peculiar to me because Utah has had a sitting trifecta of Republicans the past like 33 years.
So just like a crime education moment right now, when crime is committed in an area, it does not mean that the criminals are from that area. The criminal who came to kill him could be from a different state, a different city. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people think that if crime happened in Utah, it has to be someone from Utah, but you never know. Like, flights are cheap in America, and also people drive between states as well. And people knew that he was starting the store here, so yes.
Years. If you don't know what I mean by a Republican trifecta, I mean the House and the Senate and the governor, all of Utah have been Republicans for the past 33 years. So it happening there.
33 years? Wow, that's actually amazing for a political party to be standing for 33 years. That's 3 decades. 3 decades.
It's very weird. I also find it weird that there was actually a petition of almost about 1,000 students that were saying that they didn't want him to come and speak, but he still came. Now, all of this is very peculiar, but I do think that I came across a video by Therapy Jeff that really helps people to understand a little bit more of like how they feel. There's some people that aren't necessarily happy that he's no longer here. They aren't celebrating it, but they're like, I really don't feel much. I don't feel anything. And so he was talking about the limits that your compassion can have and how it makes sense for someone that did not speak fondly of you while they were here to not have essentially the bank to pull from your emotions while they no longer are here. You not being here doesn't erase the things that you have done. However, that also doesn't mean that people are inherently going to celebrate that person is no longer here. So I understand being stuck in limbo essentially.
It makes sense if you don't feel a deep well of empathy for someone who made a career out of refusing to show it for others. I want to normalize that. Because sometimes when a public figure dies, especially in a tragic way, people rush to say, you have to be compassionate right now. Don't speak ill of the dead. But if that person spent their life dismissing other people's pain, mocking it, minimizing it, even actively contributing to it, it makes sense that your empathy tank might run dry. That doesn't mean you're celebrating. It doesn't mean you're cold-hearted. It just means your compassion has limits. And those limits are often shaped by how much compassion someone showed in their lifetime. There's actually something psychologically healthy about noticing that boundary. You're not obligated to manufacture sorrow for someone who never extended any to you, your community, or people you care about. You can hold both, I don't wish this on anyone, and I don't feel sad about it either. That's not cruelty, that's honesty. And it feels really weird and uncomfortable to hold both of those in your body at the same time. This isn't about telling you not to be compassionate. It's about giving you permission to notice whatever you honestly feel or don't feel and trust that it's valid.
Anyways, he's a Democrat. I'm just joking. That's kind of true because if someone did something to you in the past, even though he hasn't blatantly done things to people, but he's hurt people's feelings based on the words and the things he said. So people don't really have that much compassion, but it doesn't mean that you celebrate someone's death. But we'll talk about that later on because you're no better than the person who killed. Yeah. So we covered that. Now let's go into some of the videos that are trending based on what he said in regards to the Black community. Now, if you didn't watch a full video, these are just snippets on the internet.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
I don't think God gave us... Yeah, okay.
It just shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 Black men, women, and children were killed
Okay, so
in
if
violent
your-
lynch mobs.
If that's your explanation, but I guess
Racial
so, but
terror
black-
permeated
black
American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is
You don't
worse than
think
it has been
that
in the
affected
last 80 years.
the generational psyche of an entire group of people?
No, I'm sure it did. I'm not discounting
I
that.
think I watched some of this, but I didn't watch the full thing because it got boring after a while.
I'm not discounting that. I'm just this shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad.
Okay, he was saying that black people were better in the 1940s. I mean, I feel like maybe they were more civil and they weren't as ratchet as now, but to even say that is absolutely insane. And yes, black people did accumulate more wealth in like black communities. We had Black Wall Street. We had a lot of black communities that were thriving. So there is some truth to what he was saying, but that's absolutely out of pocket. Like that, no. We have progressed as a black society now more than ever, and well, to a certain degree, and like, no, that was, yeah.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because of
Come on, man. The one thing that people don't understand about DEI is just there to push more black people to be in the same roles as their white counterparts. It doesn't mean they're less qualified. Of course, if they're going to hire a black pilot, he has a lot of experience and he is certified and he has a lot of training. He's educated. He has all that underneath his belt. They wouldn't just hire a random person that's black to fly a plane. Like, come on now. I hate this whole DEI topic. I feel like I do want to talk about it, but
because of DEI, it begs the question when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily, no one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cares.
wait, why are things like that, like, how does that even come to your mind? Like, to me, when I see a black person in certain roles, I never think, oh, what's your qualifications for you to be so high up to have this position? I never had that cross my mind ever. Just like with anyone in general, it doesn't matter their skin color or their race. So that's kind of rooted in racism. Like, yeah, no. But that is out of pocket. Like, for you to see a black person who's a pilot, you're like, are you even qualified? What are you saying about black people? Like, stop.
What percentage of America is black? 13%, right? Yes. What percentage of the murder?
These percentages, I wonder if they have changed over the decades, because from I was able to understand things, so let's say 15, I kind of understand things a little bit more, like political, and we have to write essays and we have to do research. Like, this 13% has been 13% since I was 15, and that was all the way in 2011. So from 2011 to 2025, has the black percentage of how many black people in America increased?
Murders in America are committed by black people.
I don't know the specific statistics.
Yes. It's
50%.
It's 60%.
60.
So maybe when you do 60% of the killings and you're 13% of America, more cops should be around your neighborhood.
Wait, why do people in these rallies always wear the hats? Like,
But there's no cops there's not an equal number of cops in the white suburban neighborhoods,
because
in the
there's
same
not as much murder.
The same neighborhoods that are controlling the like they have cocaine in their houses, but it's not treated the same.
And this is okay, Gigi, because it really is flushing out our different worldviews. You look at cops as if they're there to catch you and get you. We look at cops as they're there to protect and serve and help us.
And that's only because in this country, I mean, police used to be able to drag black people out in the streets and hose them down and sick dogs on them and tear them apart. And we never really had the conversation that where do we get away from that?
We definitely had the conversation.
Like,
after George Floyd, the whole country blew up under the conversation, okay? So you have a population that dads are not around, that is very, very murderous per population capita, that is very violent, more likely to be involved in gangs, and we, as conservatives look at that and we say, wait a second, like, the problem is within the community. The problem is not the government, the problem is not the culture, the problem is not the history. Instead, really what needs to happen is black leadership, black pastors, and black dads need to go into the black community and say, we're better than this. Cut the killing, cut the violence.
Okay, that's right.
Do you know the
Wait,
most?
hold on.
outside of heart disease and all that, what is the #1 killer of black people in America?
I know about like diabetes, but
Fellow black people. A black person is far more likely to be killed.
Black girl's not qualified to speak, but the only thing I did agree with him is about him saying that black leaders in the black community need to start speaking about it, which is black dads, black pastors, black, like he did say absolutely 100%, but he damn well knows. The thing is, a lot of these conversations are not being had with black intellectuals. Like, we haven't seen all these people having these conversations with educated black intellectuals. And these are things that people are now starting to ask. Like, we need to see these conversations with those, because if you could never say to a black intellectual, where we are more criminal, that's why police target us. Like, no, like, even like I can talk about why that's wrong, but we will be here for 20 minutes and I want this video short, sweet, and straight to the point. But that's absolutely wrong. We know that black communities are targeted and profiled, and why the police force was created, it stemmed from slavery and what they're taught during police training about the black communities and so forth and so on. Okay, next. Anyways,
why don't you believe that white privilege exists? I just want to get your understanding first, and then we could go from there.
Well, let's just, is there anything that you can't do that I can do?
No, we could do the same things if we put our minds to it.
Good, then there's no white privilege.
it's so funny when people say there's no such thing as racism or white privilege because it's not overt. People need to understand that these things don't have to be overt. White privilege goes beyond overt. It's very covert, actually. Covert means when something is not written, it's not at face value. It could be things that people do. So that's where we have systematic racism, right? If I go into these topics, we'd be here forever. Anyways, we are going to talk about what everyone else in the Black community is talking, because you guys already know they be tearing it up.
Once again, I am less than enthused at Black Christians and their behavior towards Charlie Kirk. I've had to follow so many people that I know from my past on Instagram because of the stories that they've put up, sending their condolences to this racist man who has spread disgusting, hateful rhetorics throughout his 31 hard-looking years. The fact you put religion before your own identity as a minority, even I'm seeing Black women saying RIP to this man. I don't care if that makes me a better person. Oh, you can't wish death on some... He said I can't. The world is going to crap. People have no empathy. I cry all the time at people's pain. What I'm not going to do is say that I'm sad for a man who spread real hate that has real consequences. I'm not gonna... You guys don't stand for anything. And Black Christians, I am just disgusted. And I'm not surprised. A lot of you align with the beliefs. So as long as a person is Christian, they can say racist things, they can say transphobic things, they can say homophobic things, they can say anti-immigration things, anti-Islam, they can say whatever they want. But because they said that they say the Lord Jesus is Lord, you lot are saying he was a man of God. You're deceived.
Just because something is trending on social media, you don't have to talk about it. I'm just gonna put it out there. And yeah, don't feel obligated. We don't know him. We don't have to, yeah. A Black girl commented in the comment section of this video and said, don't be mad at Charlie Kirk, be mad at the FBI statistics about Black people that he just reiterated. To the people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, just remember, don't rejoice when your enemies fall. Don't be happy when they stumble, for the Lord will be displeased with you and will turn his anger away from them. I know this. This is from Proverbs, isn't it? Let me look. Oh, it is. I knew it. I love Proverbs. Verb, that is pro.
You shouldn't celebrate someone dying because it's still a life loss. Is it though? Is Charlie Kirk a life loss, or did the devil just call home one of his disciples? I mean, they celebrated when they killed Martin Luther King and he was preaching peace. I think it's okay for people to be rejoicing in a white supremacist dying. I think that's all right. Mind you, he died doing what he loved, protecting gun rights. He said so famously that he believes that deaths are just sacrifices made to keep your Second Amendment, and he is indeed one of those sacrifices. And I'm gonna be honest, better him than another innocent child just going to school, or an innocent person going to the grocery store, or an innocent person going to church, or an innocent person just being on the subway, or an innocent person literally anywhere dying from gun violence. That man spent the last few years of his life peddling racism, white supremacy, xenophobia, sexism, and all things detrimental to a productive society. He was the embodiment of bigotry, and him dying in this way was very poetic. And
Okay, there's only one thing I just want to say to everyone watching this video. We need to stop. Okay, yes, he may have said all these things, but I doubt he's just like a horrible person in general. Like, I can come on social media and I can say, oh, you're fat, or you're ugly, or I don't know what else. And like, people will frame it like I'm the worst person on the planet. That doesn't encompass someone's whole being. Like, that doesn't mean they're a horrible person in general. I just have to put that out there, please, guys. Like,
what happened to Charlie Kirk happened plain and simple because he was a truth teller. He wasn't rude, he wasn't disrespectful, he wasn't wicked, he wasn't immoral. What happened to Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, happened because he was a truth teller. And the reason why social media has not taken that assassination video offline, the reason that they have not censored it, is because social media is run by very high-level witches and warlocks. And just like back in the slave day, when the black men decided that they wanted to cause a revolt, and when they were caught, they made sure that they hung them in front of everybody to see. That is why that video is still being circulated, and why it's not being stopped, is because they want to show each and every truth teller out here, this is what's going to happen to you. They want to show each and every truth teller out here that if you don't cower down in fear, if you don't become silent, you will be assassinated as well. That video is kept up, and it is a sign of what they did back in the slave day when they hung the black man, kept him up there for days, weeks, and months. Just as you passed by, you had another level of fear. But my prayer is today.
Hold on. That's actually a good comparison. How public executions that were given to the black people during the lynching era, the segregation era, and even before the segregation era, like during slavery, how it was a type of medium. It was a type of corrective criminal justice tool that they would use to try to scare other people as well. So that is actually a great educated comparison, because they did use that. They used that as a scare tactic. They use that as a criminal justice reform tactic. Let people know, like, hey, use that for moral building. They use that, oh, the list can go on. Anyways, I don't think he was a truth teller. I think he just shared a lot of his opinions. I don't know. I personally don't think his statistics were current and accurate, but that's just mine.
People are feeling a sense of euphoria, and people are feeling a sense of relief that it happened. But I think it's really important that, and I keep saying this, that we quell this with a sense of stoic realism, and that this event has changed our political landscape, not for the better. Personal feelings towards him, even you wishing this on him a month ago, yesterday, 3 hours ago, actualization of the event is the issue. It's not wrong for you to hate his guts. It's wrong for you not to defend his rights. The way that people are talking about this is so gross. Not even like that they don't care that he's gone, but it's like everyone just forgot who he is. Someone's father. What are you talking about? Does that suddenly forego? The issue was not that he was someone's father. The issue wasn't even that he was a person. The issue is that this changes our political landscape and justifies unaliving people for their opinions, even when they are not elected officials with direct control over legislation. We are approaching a societal norm of not being able to tell people what you believe in or become too influential at the threat of being unalived. That's the issue. Not people not caring that he's gone. It's the violence that will ensue. Has set a political precedent of unaliving influential pundits.
Okay, calm down. But yeah, no, she's right. Someone said that in the comments he had no sympathy for Palestinian children or anyone in Congo, Sudan, etc. Okay.
The word is psyop. Yes, what happened is real, but it was set up to look like that. He was shot from 20 yards away in the middle of a crowd full of people under a tent. Does that not scream set up to everybody else? Also spiritual warfare. You die by the sword that you swing. You're for the Second Amendment. Me too. But I also understand that there needs to be things in place. Not everybody should have a gun. But yet, you want to constantly talk about black on black crime, right? But then you died from white on white crime. Also, the Bible talks about when you don't actually, you speak the truth, right? But you're also leading the people astray. This is when people grab certain bits and pieces of the Bible and to try to make their point instead of reading the entire chapter to give true clarity and understanding. Last thing, Charlie Kirk talked about the Israeli state.
She's cute.
And how they were coming to take over. And obviously when you're that deep down the rabbit hole, and even though he said a lot of ignorant shit, he did say some truths. Okay, you have to acknowledge both. If we're gonna talk about it, you gotta acknowledge both, because two things can be true at the same time. He said when certain things come out, he was talking about the Epstein list or whatever, he said that Israel would probably try to kill him. And who's taking over America right now?
Anyway, the sun is going down.
Charlie Kirk was not a good man. He was not a good person in the slightest. He stood for
Guys, comment down below if you agree, yay, nay. What do you guys think about that?
for every single hateful sin. And he was every kind of foe, Islam, and ish under the sun. He heavily spotted racism, xenophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism. He was a fascist and a neo-Nazi. He was all of it.
Is that true? He was a neo-Nazi?
It is a tragedy that he lost his life to gun violence. It is a tragedy that hundreds of people had to witness it. It is a tragedy that his wife and two young girls had to watch their father be murdered in front of them. It is a tragedy that his wife chose to marry that kind of man. It is a tragedy that his wife shared the same political views as him and still chose to bring two children into this world with that man. It is a tragedy those two little girls had to watch their father die.
Wait, the children were there and the wife? You're lying. Oh, that's sad for them to even witness.
It is a tragedy that no one is doing anything to combat gun violence. No one in our Senate, no one in our legislation, no one in our Congress is doing anything but giving thoughts and prayers. It is a tragedy that there was another mass shooting happening today as well around the same time. It is a tragedy that people continue to lose their lives at the hand of guns. It is a tragedy that Charlie Kirk also said that lives lost from gun violence is the appropriate price to pay to keep our Second Amendment rights.
Ooh. I'm scared. Sorry. What else is there?
Remember when Charlie Kirk said that black women didn't have the same brain processing power? Remember when Charlie Kirk said that children dying in mass shootings was deemed worth it? Remember when Charlie Kirk said that if his daughter were and had to carry that baby at 10 years old, that he would force his daughter to have that child? Well, I do. Charlie Kirk was a raging racist. Hatred, used every single ounce of time of his life on this planet to spew hatred towards marginalized groups. And for the fact that people are like, he was a father, he was this, he was that. Although that is true, so are horrifically bad people in history. I'm sure Robert E. Lee, etc., or other people in history were fathers and had families.
Yeah, Robert E. Lee.
Doesn't take away the fact that this person was a bad person. And in the words of Charlie Kirk, he simply didn't believe empathy was real. So why should people sit up here and feel bad? No one condones violence. Violence is never the answer.
Yeah, no one is ever above death. No one is above poverty. No one is above anything. Anything can happen to you as well.
Charlie Kirk's death has led me to an uncomfortable conversation that I want to facilitate. To my white brothers and sisters, how would you hope your minority friends respond to the celebration of Charlie Kirk's life when he has very publicly said things like this?
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank. And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
Refer to Asian individuals by the C word, a word too violent for me to even utter. Refer to Michelle Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court, both Harvard graduates, as not having the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Suggested that if seeing a black pilot, would assume they were a DEI.
Yeah, that's kind of rude. You guys,
My white brothers and sisters,
that's kind of rude.
I'm genuinely asking, how would you like your minority friends to respond to the celebration
How
of
you
his
were to
life?
people, that's what people are going to remember you in death. Anyways, next.
Let's get down to the point. Your problem is that you really don't even want to be black.
Let's
get down to the point.
And to my people, to my black people, this is not our fight. Stay out of it. It's not
How
our
are
fight.
some people?
They said violence had no place in politics. They weren't saying that during the civil rights, back when they was assassinating us then. It didn't apply then. Let it fly now. It's not our fight. Let the white people handle it.
Sorry, just how she was acting. Okay, let's go onto the shade room quickly to see what other people are talking. So Dr. Umar Johnson calls out people in his community for celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk. Now, I will never go on the shade room for legitimate information and source, but as I said earlier, this is a very huge platform that is geared towards the black community. So I just want to see the thoughts on here. Again, it's a Democratic supporting page, so you have to keep that in mind. So Dr. Umar Johnson said, while I do not agree with Mr. Kirk's rhetoric and consider him to be an anti-black bigot, I will never rejoice at the loss of life of anyone who hasn't directly participated in the unaliving of a member of the black African race. I am ashamed to see members of my community celebrating this situation. I will never ask you to mourn the loss of an enemy of a race, but to celebrate an unaliving is completely unacceptable. We know all too well that the greatest recipients of political assassinations in this country have been our own people. Stop laughing at the misfortunes of others and get prepared. Political assassinations have returned to the United States of America courtesy of the deep state. And ironically, I bet you it's not only the deep state, but someone said nobody's rejoicing, but we damn sure aren't losing any sleep either. That's the difference. And it's 41,000 likes. This is why we go in the shade room, because at 41,000 likes on one comment, insanity. Basically, the comments are saying his last words were literally blaming black people for gun violence before being shot by a white man. How ironic. Shot by a white person while speaking about black gang violence. Irony. So ironic considering gun laws. I wish I didn't see the video. The shot was neck shot and blood gushed out. No matter what you think of him, that was someone's dad, friend, brother, son. Praying for him and his family. He got shot in Utah, the land of whites. Oh yeah, they're fed up. Someone was like, anyways, who wants food? Someone's like, he's so young, no one deserves to be shot on their political views. How old is he? And then someone said those thugs are at it again. Anyways, guys, what do you think? Comment down below. I'll see you guys in my next video.